here we go with chapter 8. In this chapter we are going to be working on solving equations and inequalities. So for section 1 we're going to talk about solving equations with a rational coefficient. First, before we get into that, we want to talk about a little review, how we would solve adding and subtracting equations. So I believe you should have done some of this last year. If not, just follow along. So anytime we want to solve, we want to draw our line down. Then we want to think about doing the opposite. So b plus 7. What is the opposite of plus 7? It means we're going to subtract 7. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. That's why we draw the line. Make sure the same thing's on both sides. Now, 7 minus 7 is 0, so that's gone. So b equals 12 minus 7, which is 5. So b equals 5 is our solution. Okay, so same thing over here. We draw our line down. We're adding 24, so opposite of adding 24 is subtracting 24. Make sure you do it to both sides. 24 minus 24 is 0. So x equals negative 52 minus 24 gives us negative 76. So x equals negative 76 is our solution. Now make sure when you write this on that side that you do actually do it, don't just write it. Okay, so if we subtracted when we were adding, then the opposite of subtracting 13 would be to add 13 to both sides. So c equals 64 plus 13 gives us 77. C equals 77. And last one, a little bit of fraction work here. Same idea though. D minus 2 sevenths. Opposite of subtracting 2 sevenths would be to add 2 sevenths. Negative 2 sevenths plus 2 sevenths gives us 0 again. D equals, you can use your calculator for this, 3/14 plus 2 sevenths reduces to 1/2. So D equals 1/2. So as you can see, when we are solving equations, you want to think about doing the opposite. We'll do the opposite. Alright, so solving equations by dividing. We want to solve 4.2x equals negative 52.5. Okay, so 4.2 x, this is being multiplied, equals negative 52.5. Well, the opposite, drop your line down, of multiplication would be to divide. So if we're multiplying by 4.2, we're going to divide by 4.2. Again, you have to do it to both sides. 4.2 divided by 4.2 is 1. So 1x, which is just x, equals negative 52.5 divided by 4.2 gives us a negative 12.5. Make sure you watch your signs. So negative 12.5. And if we wanted to check that, that just means that we are going to substitute it. So 4.2 times negative 12.5 equals negative 52.5. Well, if we put this in our calculator, you'll see that 4.2 times negative 12.5 is, in fact, negative 52.5. Equals negative 52.5. That is a true statement, so checked out. Alright, a drive-through Safari Zoo charges $12.50 per person for admission. In 1 hour, the park raised $675 in admission fees. Write and solve an equation to find how many people visited that hour. Okay, so if I'm looking for people, I know they raised $675. They charge $12.50 per person. So we're going to say let P be the number of people. Okay, well, per tells us to multiply. So 1250 times my number of people, which is P, equals the total amount of money that we raised, or that the park raised. So equals 675. Drop our line down. They're being multiplied, opposite multiply. And the inverse operation is to divide. I ran out of room there, so I'm just going to write it over here. 1250 divided by 1250 is 1, so 1p, or just p. 675 divided by 1250 is 54. And we're talking about a word problem, so we have to label. So 54 people. Okay, so we're working with inverse operations here. So we see when we started with multiplication, you want to divide. So then logically, if we are dividing, which is kind of what a fraction is, you want to solve that by multiplying. So we look at our first one, 1/4 y equals -8. When you have a fraction, you want to multiply by the reciprocal when you have a fraction. Okay, so I have 1/4 y equals -8. Well, the reciprocal of 1/4, so we flip it, would be 4 over 1, or just 4. So multiply both sides by 4 over 1. Well, 4 over 1 times 1/4 is 1. So y equals -8 times 4 is -32. And again, we could check this. Do that in pink down here. 1/4 times -32 equals -8. 1/4 times -32 is in fact -8. So -8 is -8. And we get a happy face. Alright, next one. I'm going to rewrite it down to here so I have a little bit more room. So -3/5 x equals -6 over 25. Again, we're multiplying by a fraction, which could kind of be considered a division problem. So you want to multiply this by the reciprocal, including your sign. So -5/3. Same thing over here, times -5/3. -5/3 times -3/5 is 1. So x equals, again, you can go to your calculator for this, -6/25 times -5/3 leaves us with 2 over 5. Again, watch your signs. Now you can substitute that back in order to check your solution. For now, I'm going to skip that. You'll see at the bottom of the page there is some vocabulary. We will talk about that in class.